Daily digital news. Bits and bytes connect our world.
If you're addicted to your smartphone, you might just have a disease. And we're talking about a digital disease that is now affecting our fingers, our hands, our muscles. And we're talking about WhatsAppitis. Now, it is a gradual buildup of damage to muscles, tendons, and even nerves from repetitive motions. Now, we do know that more and more people using, or rather overusing, their smartphone are now facing a peculiar medical condition, which is now called WhatsAppitis or WhatsAppitis.
Yes, indeed. And it's actually funny because just a few days ago, I was complaining about my wrist hurting me. So if you've had no injury whatsoever, or any trauma or any accident that would cause any wrist pain, then the odds are you have what we call WhatsAppitis. This is not a disease I'm coming up with or Hani is coming up with. It's a new disease that was named after the popular messaging app WhatsApp. And it falls under the category of repetitive strain injury, which is basically when your muscles or the muscles in your wrist, there's gradual buildup of tension on them that the tendons and the nerves start to hurt and they start to kind of get more and more inflamed from the repetitive motion of texting on the phone or even using WhatsApp. Now, a lot of people may be wondering who came up with the name WhatsAppitis. WhatsAppitis was actually first described back in 2014 in a medical journal known as The Lancet. And that medical journal stated that it was actually caused by repetitive movements over prolonged periods of times that could potentially result in tendon inflammation and injury.
Yes, now, believe it or not, a lot of people are going to hospitals about this problem. Now, obviously, they didn't know that they had WhatsAppitis, or even if something like that did exist, they did complain about kind of maybe tense hands, wrist pain. Sometimes a tingling feeling in their fingertips. Now, Ras Al Khaimah Hospital actually did say that up to 10 people per month showed symptoms, with some young patients admitting to checking phone screens up to 100 times a day.
Wow.
Now, the average smartphone user does spend 3 to 4 hours on screen devices each day, and that is the average. I spend a good 9 hours, but the pandemic,
even more.
yeah, I mean, the pandemic has only extended that because of detachment from social circles and around-the-clock attachment to work. Now, we do know that excessive use of smartphones can increase the risk of carpal tunnel syndrome. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've told you guys before about how to check if you've been using your phone a lot and how it actually does affect your physical well-being. If you go out and take your pinky right now, ladies and gentlemen,
yes,
look at your dominant pinky, the one that you hold your phone with. You're going to see kind of like a dent on it.
Please don't do this if you're driving, because now everyone's just going to be putting pinkies on pinkies.
Yes. Now, for me, it's with my right hand, my right pinky, because I always use my right hand to hold my phone.
Okay.
And some people it's the left, some people
mine
it's
is
both.
the left, actually. But I'm a lefty, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, I mean, some people even complain about a tingling feeling at night because of the heat of the phone.
Yeah.
And how sometimes it will make, like, you know how you have needles and pricks on your fingers?
Yes.
That's what some people would complain about.
Exactly. And this is what doctors have been describing as the symptoms of WhatsAppitis. So if you want to find out if you have it or not, it's a very simple, quick test that you can do to self-diagnose. If you haven't had an injury or an accident, if you don't work out often, you don't lift, then, if you do those things, your wrist pain or your finger pain could be caused by one of those. But if you don't do any of those things, or if you do much lighter workouts, then any severe pain in your wrist, in your thumbs, even sometimes it can radiate to your forearm, and any numbness in your ring finger specifically, or your thumb or index, could potentially mean that you have WhatsAppitis. Now, let's talk a little bit about preventative measures. I can't believe we're talking about a medical condition caused by one app, which is WhatsApp, which causes us to check our phones about 100 times a day. Doctors have been saying that the main treatment for WhatsAppitis is to restrict the activity, is to restrict how much time we would hold onto our phones and check WhatsApp. Another thing you could do is to take anti-inflammatory medications. So that would be over-the-counter painkillers, sometimes using splints if your ring finger is very damaged. But if you neglect it, it could likely take months to heal. So if you do feel like you have WhatsAppitis, as weird and peculiar as this sounds, go ahead and get it checked out, because sometimes a simple muscle relaxant, a simple anti-inflammatory that your doctor can give you, and sometimes even just they may ask you to wear a wrist brace. This could potentially reduce further damage to your nerves, to your tendons, and we have one body. We might as well take care of it.
Yes, now this kind of echoes from Nintenditis, which is comes or derails from the name Nintendo, which we all know what Nintendo is. It is a gaming console.
Yeah.
Now, it is kind of characterized by the same pain, tingling, burning, and numbness along the areas of that thumb, index, middle, and ring finger. And again, Nintenditis, arthritis, what's-up-itis, all of this affects your joints, affects your bones, affects your tendons and muscles. And actually, this is not the first time we see a product being labeled or having its own disease. Now, Nintenditis was actually first described in 1990, and since then, several types of injuries associated with the video games and new technologies have actually been reported. Now, during lockdown for me, I started having problems in my pinky finger because I used to game a lot on my computer, and I used to type a lot, and I used to have problems. Sometimes I would feel they would twitch.
Oh, okay.
Twitch, because I used to play World of Warcraft, and that was very kind of keyboard smashing type of game. And again, this is becoming a problem, and sometimes I guess our body is not created to be doing a repetitive task every time. And then that just goes full circle, talking about autonomous jobs, robots, and this is what Future Talk is all about, ladies and gentlemen, making our lives easier and reducing pain and injury.
Yes, indeed. Now, one piece of advice that we've heard from different doctors was to not use your phone for more than 15 to 20 minutes a time, which I think is it's hard to sit down and calculate how much time do you spend on your phone at one go. But also another tip would be to keep your wrists straight while you're using your smartphone. So balance it with both hands. This is something I'm guilty of, and I know a lot of people are. We tend to just use it with one hand at a time. So try and use it with both hands. This advice may really disturb Hani, but some doctors are suggesting that we use voice notes more often than typing, because apparently voice notes would help us reduce the strain on the thumb. It won't make us have to hold our phone as often. And yeah, just...
I don't know what kind of people are typing out essays and books on WhatsApp or text messages.
Paragraphs.
But,
fights over WhatsApp.
Again, I mean, the doctors know better than me, obviously. So listen to the doctors. Do take those precautionary measures. Precautionary measures and preventive measures have been the two words that I've been talking about for the past 2 years now. Thank you, COVID-19. But we're going to be taking a short break. And when we come back, we're talking about Jeff Bezos, the owner and CEO of Amazon, and how he will actually go to space on Blue Origin in July.